by a battle of brothers.
TLOC fight.
This is just like about as TLOC as it gets, I'd say.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
2
you know
TLOC commentators, 2 TLOC players.
You don't get more TLOC.
It's pretty intense. Anyways, let's hop right into it. DisqoBunny squaring off against Denti, and Disco definitely been making some waves with his combination Sonic and Diddy Kong. Last week, taking second place. Denti almost taking an early L there.
Yeah, diving down super low. That up beat is barely reaching the ledge.
You gotta stop scaring me, buddy.
All right, yeah.
And I think what makes me so such a big fan of Disco is he knows when to go in and when to be incredibly patient. And a character like Sonic is just such a great conduit, I feel, for that sort of mentality.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the fact that he can set up those spins and kind of decide whenever he actually wants to engage, and it's like safely engage too, as long as you do it correctly. I mean, so many people like to complain about it because he plays like so kind of the evasive game, but it's a legitimate way to play it, and Sonic is very, very good at it.
And even now, we're seeing that patience. I feel a lot of players would look at the deficit and just think, you know, I need to go in. I need to bully my way in and create opportunities for myself. And Disco is very aware of the clock being an alternate win condition. He's willing to wait it out, make Denti make the first I guess, lackluster interaction, and then find openings off of that instead.
Yeah, actually trying to force your way in generally has, like, you get a high reward for it, but it's also a pretty high risk. And so, you know, usually that's like the go-to option whenever you're at a percent deficit. So, I need to get big wins. I need to come back. But that's, you know, there's certainly something to say about playing the opposite way and using that as a sort of pressure point for your opponent. Be like, oh, well, I'm at really high percent. He's going to try actually getting KO moves on me now. And then using that to try and bait out openings. Like these up smashes we've seen from Denti, usually a pretty safe thing, but Disco is managing to find the punish until, of course, the one that he doesn't punish.
Very true. Now, when we talk about patience, that's something that Denti himself is also world-renowned at,
Absolutely.
Of course. You know, being such a formidable player back when Brawl was around, you know, his Olimar, I believe, was the Olimar to beat back in the day.
Definitely one of them, yeah. Yeah, and, you know, Olimar, of course, kind of similar in this game. Like, his playstyle hasn't changed too terribly much. I mean, he's a wall character. He throws Pikmin at you, and it's your job to try and get in on it. So Denti is very, very used to putting up these walls and defending them incredibly well.
Now, in general, when you take the first stock off of someone, you're already at an advantage. But I think that goes double for Sonic. Again, if you look at Disco, who it wouldn't surprise me if right now he's trying to play for the clock. Now he's really starting to feel that pressure. And now Denti is starting to just play the patient game himself. Just throw out the fireballs. Try to get as much chip damage as possible.
Yeah, the patient game from Sonic can be a bit of a double-edged sword, of course. You know, you start running down the clock, and your opponent, you know, gets to the point where, like, well, you know, he's getting to medium percents. I could go for risky stuff. And then they look up back to the clock, and they're like, oh, wait, or I could just play safe for 2 minutes? Maybe I'll just play safe for 2 minutes. That sounds good. I think I like that.
Yeah, it's almost like you're trying to mill your opponent in, like, a trading card game.
Right.
And they end up drawing, like, the exact 2 cards they need to basically cement their win condition. But there, Disco takes the stock off, and now definitely feeling the weight lifted off of his shoulders.
Yeah, very crucial back throw. You can get a couple of good openings. You can start bringing these percents back to even.
Oh, that was a gutsy fireball from Denti. Just up close and personal. Now, I guess I wanted to touch on the fireball in particular because is there like a specific range where he needs to throw them at? Does it need to be a balance between being far enough away where they're safe but close enough where they're hard to react to?
Yeah, I would say there's a bit of a range there because like the far away fireballs are safe, but once you get up to a certain point, it's pretty difficult to react by like. So of course the Sonic you can do like the down B and release there and go like clank with the fireball, or you can side B and like attempt to hop over it, which is pretty difficult to do. But if you fire from far enough away, it's not as hard to react to it. Whereas if you run up and get the fireball up close in person, it's pretty difficult to react in time. And of course, any hitboxes you do will just get stuffed out.
And I'm looking at Disco right now, and it's so clear he wants to play the grounded game. He doesn't want to get hit by the up smash, but that's where the fireballs come in. You get hit by so many of these fireballs, and it's almost natural for you to want to go airborne to get around.
Yeah. And we were talking about this with Denti versus Emery earlier today, that even if like you're not getting hit by many of the fireballs, even if it's like 1/4 or 1/8 even, if he can just keep on setting up safe fireball after safe fireball, it will chip you out eventually. You're going to get clipped and you're going to take damage and then potentially start getting flustered which is where the big damage comes into play.
Well, right now, approaching the final minute of this initial game, getting flustered would be the worst thing on the menu for either one of these two. Denti, of course, sigh of relief, just keeping up the safe fireball game. He's using Disco's game plan and actually using it against him.
Yep, only a minute left on the clock now. Denti going to be looking for some smashes, but even if he doesn't land the up smashes, that time is ticking down.
We have to consider with each of those fireballs, there's the other side of the coin. Not going to be able to talk about it. That was what I wanted to talk about if Disco had the access to it, right?
Yes,
that back throw combined with the rage. Because even with the chip damage, in this game, it's a double-edged sword as well. Though I suppose you could say it about games like Street Fighter as well, where you give your opponent meter, if you will.
Yeah, and then Ultra or Super. Yeah, kind of a scary thing both these players have, or both these characters have, is that if you try and like pressure them in the corner and screw up and get grabbed, bye-bye stock.
Now, sticking with the Sonic, talk to me about why he's choosing not to go Diddy Kong here.
That is an interesting question. Diddy Kong does get comboed pretty hard by Luigi. I don't know if I'd necessarily say it's a bad matchup, but fireballs are pretty good. It can be kind of hard for Diddy Kong to get bananas through the fireball walls just because the fireball and the banana will clash. And then even if Diddy Kong's at like a slight frame advantage afterwards because his throw animation's really fast, he's still lost his banana. And that's where a lot of the reward comes from. That massive reward off the dash attack landing, cutting through the spin attack.
I think it's the best move in Smash.
It's pretty hilarious.
And that was even in like 64, right? Like it hasn't changed. They've just added the expressions, you know?
Right,
they made it better without actually, I think, increasing any of the damage or like the rewards you actually get off of it.
It is actually a little bit better now. In previous versions of the game, it didn't have like the strong knockback at the end of it. So now at least like he hits you and you don't get punished on hit, which is a very sad state of affairs whenever that happens in other games.
It definitely sounds like he's just like hitting him with the coconuts, you know what I mean?
He's actually just got 2 coconuts in his hand. Just kind of like...
Yeah, Monty Python style.
Yeah, straight up Monty Python again.
Oh, what a recovery from Disco, getting around the attempted Cyclone Gimp that Denti was trying to set up. And this is a completely different game from the last. We're seeing that Disco, in contrast to that last game, has actually been able to keep up percent for percent in this initial stock.
Yeah, lots of trades going back and forth, but still very, very even.
Now, who do you think trades favor? Do they favor Luigi here, or do you think they're more Sonic?
I think it really depends on what's trading. I think more often than not, if they do like truly trade, Luigi's gonna win. But there's lots of situations where Sonic can like slip through and like maybe eat a fireball, but also in the meantime like set up positioning to get a spin. And if he gets a spin attack, he could potentially get like down B into like jump neutral air, which is actually a lot of damage.
So do you think Denti's trying to bait with those wrong direction fireballs? We've seen him go for it a couple of times.
Honestly, those are probably input errors. Just when you throw enough fireballs, eventually you're going to screw one up. I mean, there is something to be said that it could be, you know, that'd be a pretty clever thing, actually, to intentionally throw a fireball the wrong way and like be ready to up smash if they run at you. Pretty tense moment here, but once again, both players high percents. A grab near the ledge will be a back throw kill, but Disco managing to find the spin to neutral air.
And it looked like that extra second he took just to charge was the difference maker. If he had just pulled the trigger a touch earlier, there would have been a great chance he would have gotten stuck by that up smash.
And that is one of the reasons why the spin charge from Sonic is such a very strong position to be in, is because at any point in time in that charge, he can just let it rip and fly halfway across the stage. Is he? Is he? Okay, I was going to say, if he gets killed by dash attack.
I know.
there were going to be words.
I
don't know what
words. A lovely
words.
Bunch of coconuts.
Diddly-dee.
Big one, small one, some as big as your head. I love that movie so much.
It's a pretty good movie.
So good. Yeah, back into the match. And is there a reason why he didn't just go for the grab after the 1-2? Maybe it's just a slight mix-up instead?
Perhaps, yeah. It's going for something a little bit safer. Good control of center stage from Denti. Not letting it... Okay, that definitely was an intentional dash attack, and it worked out pretty well. It seemed like it... there is like a little bit of like a jump forward that Luigi has in his dash attack, so it's not a terrible move, really. Like, it looks like a terrible move on paper, and like watching it in play. But I don't know. It can work as like a standard dash attack, kind of like the Fox cheek dash attack, where like they use it as like a little bit of a burst movement to try and catch an opponent too far away. Ooh, that time though, getting punished pretty hard.
Very hard. Actually, he took the percent lead for a moment. But now again, Disco needing to make some serious plays. Up smash! Ooh. I thought that was going to be the set right there. And a great spring just to get out of trouble, attack on a little bit of percentage as well. Forward throw. Denti is fearless right now. He knows that Disco's feeling the pressure.
Dancing around the ledge, but Disco does manage to slip through. Still backing him into the corner, though. Denti not trying to push things too fast.
Hey, that's a 64 strats, right? Where you just literally punch away the projectiles. You're like, I don't need this shield. What's it good for? Back in my day.
So the DBZ moment where you just slap the energy blast away.
And now I can actually ask you, all that chip damage Denti's been doing, it's built up the meter, it's built up rage here. A back throw from Disco could very well end this game.
Yeah, so, Denti's got to be very careful about how he pushes forward. If he goes in whenever Disco's in the corner and he messes it up, he could just die from a single grab.
Just thinking about the Heartbreaker, if he accidentally pushes forward while he's trying to set up positioning and commits to a missile instead. Or,
Whoa, the instant snap forward, though. That was really fast. If he had DI'd that properly, he probably would have survived. But that just happened so fast. You blink and, like, oh, I'm dying. I'm dead.
I think the big thing about that game was in those moments that we saw at the end, because it felt like, unlike a lot of other players, even at the highest level that I watch, Denti simply was not intimidated by the spin dash or the spin charge at all.
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, he had fireballs to stop it in place. He hit him out of it with dash attack a lot. But yeah, so he did a really, really good job cornering Sonic and keeping him pressured whenever he was cornered. A lot of characters have trouble with that because Sonic will just spin through at the right moment. But really good job from Denti, just setting up the wall and not letting Sonic through.
Man, I'll tell you what, looking at those matches, it feels like it's so grueling to play against.
Yeah,
and
it does.
looking at around this room, it's completely understandable that Denti's nowhere in the venue right now. You need that moment.
He's just like, okay, smoke break. Just had to throw fireballs for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. What goes on through your mind whenever you're sitting down in a match and you're